Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now just the last 2 weeks of August of 2024 before we head into September, which is going to be a very interesting month for the Walt Disney Company and everything that's going on between themselves and Marvel Studios and exactly what's going on with Lucasfilm as well. There's going to be a lot of developments in September, so stay tuned on that front. However, focusing on the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, we know that this was always going to cross $1 billion at the box office worldwide, based on the fact that Ryan Reynolds, Shawn Levy, the director of this thing, writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, were able to take a stand against the Disney heads for months upon months to say it's our way or the highway and doing away with the Disney agenda, the message, if you will, the ideology that they've been doing for the past multiple years now. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, one thing about Brie Larson is that we know that she's been very bitter the past couple of months. She's lost various roles connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ever since, by the way, The Marvels was considered a box office failure. In fact, it really was a record-breaking box office failure for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was the lowest opening ever in the MCU for the first weekend, and that is a very revealing thing. When you look back at that movie back in 2023, back in November, I believe it released on November 10th, correct me if I'm wrong, at the time, we all knew what was coming, right? And we all saw the end result, and that really created a domino effect to all the films that Brie was attached to all the films that Kevin Feige had wanted to do initially that are now no longer moving forward. Now, what's interesting about this has a lot more to do with Brie Larson's overall take on Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool and Wolverine, and you can expect exactly what's going to come out of that. Now, with Deadpool and Wolverine's box office already a massive success for those like Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy who made this all possible, one major development now has more to do with actress Brie Larson and her overall response to the current status of the Marvel Universe and Deadpool and Wolverine's status of shifting away from Disney's agenda. Larson delivered the following. As an actress who has had so much experience, especially in these superhero films, I just always knew it would come to this point where a major studio like the Walt Disney Company would have to please the toxic minority of fans that were getting to be just too loud. I mean, looking at Deadpool and Wolverine and everything that Ryan and Shawn did with that film, I thought was just a little too childish with all these curse words they use in the movie. It doesn't necessarily make it funny, and sometimes when you fail to see that, I think that's part of the problem with this Marvel fandom. I have always said that fandom culture is very toxic, always has been and always will be. But when you have a film like Deadpool and Wolverine and Ryan doing his thing to cater to toxic males, this is something I was trying to really convince with Mr. Feige and how we almost did it there, where in this film could have been more female-centric. We could have had an empowered woman on the big screen, a woman that could embrace the limelight and feel empowered. But we didn't get any of that, and all we got in this film was a bunch of F-bombs by Ryan and Hugh, and it was just a distraction for me when I saw this and gave it a shot, and to see what the end result was like. I don't want to go into my role as Captain Marvel. I mean, I thought there would be something there for the future, but I just refused to even go into that subject. I think that those like Ryan don't fully understand how comedy works, especially in the Marvel Universe. It's not just about curse words that make a film funny in an R-rated movie or jokes about the LGBTQ community, which were done on occasion and quite offensive to me personally, knowing many in that community. But what's even worse is this film could have had a powerful female ensemble cast that would feel empowered. Looking at Emma Corrin and her character, what was she called? Cassandra or something? I just thought she wasn't empowered in the expected fashion that Ryan should have done in the script with Shawn. Now guys, let me just stop here before I move on. Now, she's obviously more bitter based on the fact that Captain Marvel was thrown into the trash from Deadpool and Wolverine. We've been talking about this, about how there were a handful of scenes filmed for the character of She-Hulk and Captain Marvel by Tatiana Maslany and Brie Larson, and among other characters that also got tossed out of this film, either for better or worse. In fact, we had a couple of more scenes that were supposed to feature Henry Cavill as the Cavillrine, and we could have gotten that, but Bob Iger refused to actually have more footage of him in the final cut, even in the Blu-ray edition of the film. We'll talk more about that because there's more developments going on with Henry. But interestingly enough, look, she goes on to talk about how there's too many F-bombs in this movie and how it was a quote-unquote distraction. She also goes on to talk about how there were jokes about the LGBTQ community on occasion and how that really offended her deeply. And she's saying that there's no value to this overall movie as a comedy film. Now, she doesn't realize that this movie is a comedy movie. Alright, I don't think that she fully understands that when you have a comedy movie that's R-rated, especially when it's a Deadpool film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, well, this is exactly what you get. This is the Deadpool character. This is the Deadpool character and how he acts. I don't know if Brie Larson's just so out of it she doesn't understand the Deadpool character, but that's how the character acts in nature. And basically, that's what Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy wanted to do. They wanted to accurately present him on the big screen. They wanted to bring Wolverine into the equation to show off that iconic yellow suit for the first time in history on live action, which was, by the way, historic. That's why it really made so much money at the box office. You have people seeing this thing 3, 4, 5, heck, even some people have commented here 6 times. Moving onwards, she goes on to conclude, alright, where is the story? There needs to be a story, you know? Films like this need more characters like Captain Marvel or She-Hulk to be an amazing addition to the MCU. And as well as characters like Ironheart. That's going to be an amazing addition to the MCU in 2025. I just cannot wait to see that performance. With a movie like Deadpool and Wolverine, it's just really a story about 2 guys doing guy things, and it's not really catering to the other demographic that it should be. It's very dull. So yeah, this movie is a movie for mainly the overall male demographic. I mean, I think that we could all really understand that. Now, sure, you have the exception. You have a small percentage of, you know, women that really love Deadpool and Wolverine that went out and saw this movie, but there's no doubt about it that when you research the data, that the male demographic dominates the female demographic when it comes down to the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, right? So that goes for a lot of superhero movies out there, and that also goes for, by the way, a lot of Star Wars films and TV shows out there as well. It's just a natural thing. It really was something that was built for the male demographic in the very early stages with the comic books and everything around those likes. Now sure, like I said before, you have women that watch these products, things like Marvel and Star Wars, but it was always mostly men, and it seems like Brie Larson has a growing issue with the movie. The fact that, number one, it has a lot of curse words in here, by the way, which is expected by Deadpool and Wolverine. And number two, she seemingly has a growing problem with the fact that this movie features 2 males dominating the presence in this movie. And it just goes to show you that they are obsessed with the Disney message. They are obsessed with the Disney agenda and everything related to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and exactly what Bob Iger has been spewing for the past several years. So overall, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments with Brie Larson, Deadpool and Wolverine, and the ongoing, overall backlash from these actresses. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.